To have this opportunity to represent the horticulture industry, the fresh fruit and vegetable industry, and share our views in this space. And just to give you a quick introduction about who we are and what we do, I am Ajay. I represent a company called Samagri, which is a 25 plus year old company operating out of Hyderabad as a base, with our active presence across South India. We have facilities in Nashik, Bangalore, Hindupur, and quite a lot of other places. So as a company, we have always, just to give a quick introduction of our history. So Samagri at one point was one of the largest exporters of grapes from Hyderabad. So in the early 2000s, we were exporting a lot of grapes till the grape production came down and a lot of villas started propping up in Kompally and other areas. So that's where we started looking at pomegranate, which was a year-round crop which could be exported from India. And also there was a lot of value addition that was possible. Just to give you a quick background on the market size of pomegranates. So I'm just going to spend a little more time on pomegranates as an example, but it could be applied to different horticultural products. So in 2017-18, there's roughly about 1.5% of our production of pomegranates. And again, India is one of the largest producers of pomegranate, producing about 30 lakh metric tons of pomegranate, out of which less than about 2% gets exported. One of the reasons is also India is one of the largest consumers of pomegranate in the world, and also the kind of markets that we export to. So about 50% of our exports go into Middle East, about 20% goes into Bangladesh, and about 20% goes into Nepal and China, Sri Lanka and other neighboring countries. So the less than about 20-25% of our pomegranate gets exported to non-neighboring countries. So this was the situation overall for pomegranates. But when we look at Samagri, we have been pioneer in looking at introducing our Indian pomegranates across the world, not just as a fresh fruit, but also as a value-added fruit. Our primary business is where we peel pomegranates and we export ready-to-eat value-added pomegranates. And just to give you the same background on the markets that we work with, about 25% of our produce goes to UK, about 30% of our produce goes to mainland Europe, 15% goes to US, 15% again goes to Middle East, the rest of it to the rest of the world. The reason why we say this is a lot of other speakers before me spoke about the residue levels, spoke about the market access for a lot of our Indian produce. There are very stringent norms on exports of fresh produce, especially to Western markets like US, Europe, Australia, and even Far East markets like Japan or Korea. So it is very critical to have a good integration from farm to the final produced product, where we control the use of pesticides, we control the use of chemicals and different processes, and be able to export to these markets. And so the kind of value addition that we have done, say just for example, again on a pomegranate, we export whole pomegranate. We do peel ready to eat fresh pomegranate with just a shelf life of about 14 days from the time we peel it and export. We work on frozen pomegranate, the IQ of pomegranate. We do dried pomegranate seeds. We do pomegranate juice as shots. We do chocolate coating of dried pomegranate seeds. We extract oil from pomegranate. And recently we have started producing pomegranate wine in Maharashtra, where we have a wine license to produce pomegranate wine as well. So the reason why I also touch upon this is, especially in the fresh produce business, where it is a highly perishable, commoditized product, the only way we can compete in the global market or create a unique proposition is by value addition. And the value addition could come in different forms, be it in the way we produce it, or the way we cultivate it, or the way we handle, or the process that's involved in the logistics and supply chain as well. So this is just a quick background to what we do. But now coming back to the topic on the challenges, gaps, and the advancements in logistics in the horticulture or the fresh produce sector. I would actually, again, just to touch upon, there are a lot of points which Hiten has already touched upon, but I'll be looking at it from a fresh produce point of view and how that is having an impact on the perishable produce. I would again put them into three broad categories. The first one would be the regulatory. If you look at the regulatory, one of those critical challenges that we face is, as I said, our product has a shelf life of 14 days from the time it's produced, which means you need to spend less than a day in the logistics for the product to be in the end market, for them to have at least a week or 10 days to sell the product. And this is where regulatory becomes a critical part in our operations. One of the things that we want to talk about is ease of documentation. So today, the kind of phytosanitary certifications, the number of regulatory agencies that are involved in getting export of any produce to go out of the country, it becomes a critical challenge, especially to coordinate with all these agencies. And also, again, most weekends, all these agencies are off, and most of our shipments go out on weekends because it has to be ready for these export markets on Mondays. And most of the certifying agencies ask you to get the certificates on a Thursday or a Friday for a shipment that happens on a Sunday or a Monday morning. And there could be changes in orders, there could be changes in a lot of dynamic things that could happen in the orders. And most of the time, it's the onus is on the exporters to take all this last minute hazards that come with certifications and documentation. So as long if we could have some amount of support from the regulatory bodies, where at least for fresh produce exporters, there are regulatory and certificatory bodies working on weekends, then it would make a lot of difference in making sure that last minute hurdles or any cancellations that are borne by the exporters. The other part that was spoken about is also the financial incentives and support. Again, as an industry which which is very dependent on air travel. I mean, most of our, at least about 80% of our produce gets exported by air shipments. And for the last 2 years, it's been a very bad news for the industry with the closure of commercial airlines. The prices of air freight have gone up by 3 to 4 times. And with the perishable products, you do not have another option. It has to be taken in. So things like this, where as an industry, where there is if there is some support on the transport subsidies, both for inland and for outward exports, also on the EPC or working capital support, because of the kind of increased cost in operation. It could be for the same volume, but the cost of operations and the cost of turnover of funds is also a concern. So these are something that we could have support from the regulatory bodies. And the next thing that I want to talk about is infrastructure. So as Mr. Hiten mentioned, just to give you a small example, a similar example that he spoke about on Vietnam or Thailand, for a shipment, again, we need to keep this in mind, where a perishable, even a whole fruit, the entire shelf life of the product is not more than 45 days or 50 days. And we spend about 10 days just exporting it from our facility to the port. That's a 20% of the shelf life just gone without having any production. The same thing takes about 2 to 3 days in Vietnam or Thailand or Peru or Chile, a lot of South American or even an African country like Kenya or South Africa or Mozambique. They take less than 2 to 3 days from the pack house to the product being on the ship and getting exported. Here we take anywhere between 8 to 10 days from the time it goes from our facility to ICD to going to the port and then getting exported. And the next part is also about the air shipments that we spoke about. This is something specific to Telangana and Hyderabad, where we do not have cold chain handling solutions for fresh produce in Hyderabad. Yes, we have some cold storage for the inbound shipment. For the outbound shipments, we do not have a cold chain solution for fresh produce. Being a pharmaceutical hub, there is a cool port that is specifically being set up for pharma, but for fresh produce, this infrastructure is not available, leading to a lot of temperature abuse and delays in handling the produce. Compared to a market, other cities like Bangalore, which has a dedicated cool port hub for handling of fresh produce in the airports. And the next broad point that I want to talk about is product or the market. So as Mr. Hiten also mentioned about branding. So here, this is something that we would want to look at specific for the agri-produce, or even on a very broad level on Indian produce. It could be any produce that comes out of India. We are still competing in a very commoditized commodity market. Example, let's look at markets like Peru. Peru as a country has started branding their fresh produce for the last 15-20 years. It's not specific to any product, it's not specific to any fruit or any exporter or any industry. It is overall saying produce from Peru is high quality, residue-free fruit. So that's something that has been built over a long period of time in different events, seminars, be it trade fairs, where there is a introduction of the produce from that country into different markets. And that's the way we need to increase our presence in all these international markets. So branding and market building at a large country level and also on the product level. So grapes and pomegranates are one of the largest exported fresh fruits from India. If we can start, and 95% of our pomegranates is just one variety, it's a variety called Bagua, which a lot of us know, a lot of industry people within the industry might know, but consumers around the world do not know or do not care. So this is where we need to start looking at specific product-wise or variety-wise branding of fresh produce, like how today we can very easily recall a Zespri kiwi from New Zealand or Washington apples or Idaho potatoes. So these are things that we need to make synonymous with our Indian produce. Yes, there is a lot of GI tag produce across the country, but we need to look at the large high volume produce and look at how do we brand it across the world to have a premium or even a market introduction for our products into most of the countries. And the next one that I would talk about on the product on the market is also on the research and development of varieties which would help the overall industry. So today, as I mentioned, about 95% of our pomegranate export is just one variety called Bagua, and this is about 25-30-year-old variety. So there is a lot of pest and other practical issues in growing these varieties, and we have not developed newer varieties or not moved ahead with newer technologies to make sure our yield and the quality of produce is improving. So these are places where we could, industry and the government together and the government bodies need to work together in working on developing new varieties which would then be licensed out to farmers and exporters and then work on these specific product lines. And there are a lot of other international countries and agencies also working on these newer developed varieties, and maybe we could also look at licensing these varieties which are specific to Indian agroclimatic conditions. And the last point I also want to talk about is cluster-based development for fresh produce and horticulture produce. Because as I was always mentioning, we are looking at a highly perishable, low shelf life product. So it is very critical on focusing on growing a certain set of products in one geography and then having the entire processing and value addition in that geography. Then it makes a lot of cost economics in procuring, growing, and also the logistics of sending these products. So these are briefly my thoughts on not just the challenges but also the advances and also the opportunities that we have in the fresh produce industry. Thank you. Thank you very much.